What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Showstopper Man, back to bring you another video. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive right into this video, man. We got these four-legged beasts on the prowl. The four-legged beast is on the prowl. These dang on hoof clickers is out here, man, going to the extremes, trying to, say Microsoft is lying. They promise 4K, 60 with every game. If it's not doing 4K 60, it's not the stronger console. Dynamic resolution. You know, anytime we can't, us as Xbox dudes cannot come out of E3 and just be happy. You know, we got to go through a whole lot of stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it takes away from the excitement that we have when it comes to, you know, what we know, because we are Xbox fans. We know exactly what Microsoft is saying to us, and we accept it as such. But you got ponies where, you know, they try to pick holes. But Microsoft said a lot of stuff before the which was Scorpio then, is now X now, before it even came out, about a lot of the stuff that they are sitting here now all of a sudden, you know, it's changing the narrative. So let's look at some of the stuff that they're talking about. One of the things that is going on out here that ponies is tagging a lot of Xbox dudes in is dynamic resolution, or checkerboarding, or however how you want to use it. First time us as Xbox dudes heard of dynamic resolution was with Halo. They used it in Halo. This was a rendering technique that Microsoft did to keep a stable 60 frames with Halo. And what that means with dynamic scaling is meaning based off of what is going on the screen, you will have some games, you know, it'll hit 1080p, then it might go down to 980 or 920 or whatever the case may be, just using it as an example. You know, and scale up and down from there, based off of what's happening on the screen to keep a stable frame rate. And I remember when this was first announced and when it first came out with Halo, you know, ponies wasn't on board with this trash. Remember that? You know what I'm saying? They were sitting here like, y'all gotta use special rendering techniques. You know how they is. Special rendering techniques to hit 1080p. But really, it was really about the stable frame rates, you know, and based off of this, because the hardware was not as strong and not as powerful, it needed to fluctuate. That's why they made the game with dynamic scaling or dynamic resolution, and you know, which is not a bad thing. Where the difference comes in at is that, you know, they made another console. The other console is the S. The S has a 1K frame buffer, which can upscale to 4K. You know what I'm saying? Kind of similar to what Sony is doing, because, you know, they can upscale to 4K as well, based off the technique that you use. So they use dynamic scaling. This is a rendering technique that they use to get the most out of the power that they have, or whatever efficiencies they have. So that means it can go from 4K down to 1K down to, you know, 1080p possibly, you know, and fluctuate up and down from there based off of what's happening on the screen. But I want you to listen to what Phil, because, you know, with the X, it should stay consistent, you know what I'm saying, the whole time at 4K, which is 4K if it stays consistent at that. So I want you to listen to Phil when he talked and he was asked these questions before the Scorpio even came out, which is now the X now. Before it even came out, let's listen to him. Hold on, before I go into that, I want y'all to know I'm at my mom's. I'm helping her move, so I'm trying to do this video real quick while I got like some downtime. So if it don't come across strong, meaning that it don't come, you know, y'all don't hear it well, it's because I'm using it off my tablet and I'm in like a quiet space waiting for all my brothers and them to get here to help. So I'm trying to get this video out real quick to y'all, to you guys. But I want you to, hopefully it has where y'all can hear it, you know. So because I am using my Microsoft tablet and I don't have my speakers with me. So hopefully y'all can hear it. So if y'all don't hear it, excuse me. But let's go into it.
More powerful than the original Xbox, 4.5 times, and the 6 teraflops actually will obviously impact the games and the way they play. Upcoming games.
This isn't necessarily like, you know, you're not going to like suddenly get better performance out of any disc you put in the system.
You know, it's a great question. If you look at a game like Halo 5, Halo 5 implements something called dynamic scaling. So as scenes get more complex, in order to maintain 60 frames per second, they will actually change the resolution that you're running at. And they're not the only game that does this.
Right.
So then if you run that game on Project Scorpio, you're actually going to be at the max frame rate of that game more often. So, and now, again, I'm not going to put that as a top selling feature of Scorpio because it's not all games use dynamic scaling. I'm trying to be transparent with people about where we are in the design of Project Scorpio and what it was designed for. It was designed in order to enable these high-fidelity 4K experiences. So some of the existing games will actually run a little better if they're using dynamic scaling. But I wouldn't buy Scorpio to run your existing library.
Yes, like get a little bit more performance out of Halo 5 is probably not a...
No, I wouldn't suggest somebody does that. And then I got the question, well, if you have a HD TV and you don't have a 4K TV, should you go buy Project Scorpio? And I guess some people will do...
Let me stop right there. Let me stop right there. Stop right there. Y'all hear what he said. So this is the purpose, the reason why they're doing that. Now with Scorpio, it should hit 4K more often than not. You know what I'm saying? So that means it should stay there majority of the time, which is showing, not majority, let me say that. It should stay there. Let me just put it that way, at 4K. And whatever frame rates you have, it should be able to maintain a solid frame rate with that. Because, you know, you got to remember, you know, this, like even with Halo going to benefit from the Scorpio because it's going to upgrade up to the power of that box. So we already know, you know, the capabilities of the box. They made it with 4K in mind. They made the box with 4K in mind. So here it is. We have it. It's gonna output and it's gonna be 4K regardless of what techniques it's using. I just wanted to show y'all out of Phil's mouth, you know what I'm saying, what he meant when they talk about dynamic scaling and dynamic resolution. When it comes to the X, it's different than it will be with, you know, the S or the Pro, which is kind of on the same plateau. Now, Pro might be a little bit stronger, you know what I'm saying, than the S. I'll have to really go back and look at that again. But they still kind of similar. It's not the same level as the Pro. So, but let's listen to some more of what Phil had to say, because he was saying a lot of good little stuff before he changed the narrative. Let's finish on.
The 6 teraflop version of a game,
right.
And that version of a game, even when downsampled to HD, will look different than the game running at 1080p.
Right.
But I still think of the complete Scorpio experience as somebody that has a 4K TV with Scorpio plugged into it. To take Scorpio and then plug it into an HD TV, to me, feels like you're taking a 4K frame buffer and down-resing it to show it on your TV. And the box will have downsampling. Like, you know, it will obviously show up on an HD TV. But the real design point for us, the motivation behind Scorpio, was 4K gaming, 6 teraflops.
Preach, Phil.
You know, some developers will take advantage of that 6 teraflops in different ways, but that was really the design point for Project Scorpio, and the reaction of the dev community and, frankly, the fans here at E3 has been fantastic.
Let me stop right there. He said some developers would take advantage of that in different ways. Nowhere did he come out his mouth and say every game was going to be 4K 60. Ponies is going around here changing the narrative, sitting here saying that, you know, this is what they promised, why upgrade, blah, 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 blah. He never said that. What he's sitting here saying, you know what I'm saying, if this is the gaming experience you want, they made that with this in mind. It's up to developers to take advantage of that. You know, that don't falls on Microsoft. So even if they want to use dynamic scaling, that's a possibility. They're open to that. If they want to, you know what I'm saying, put it in native 4K, they're open to that as well. So if they take a PC version, the problem comes in is that it's only going to be one version of the game that goes across board. So it's going to be one Xbox version. You know, they can play on the X, they can play on the S, and can play on the original Xbox One. So, you know, that's where it comes in at. You know, but at somehow they should take advantage of it based off of what you have, whichever one you have. So that's it's coming out of Phil's mouth. Us as Xbox dudes, we've been knew this. You know, it's not like it's something new. It's like new to y'all because it's new to ponies because this is the first time that they keying in on it. But he told us this. What year was this out? In 16. You know what I'm saying? Right after E3 16. He was telling us this. Now let's go look at it again. Let's look at it again. Let's listen to him.
That's actually something that I was curious about when you talk about 4K being the emphasis of that thing, but will there be any mandate coming out of Microsoft toward developers saying, like, you guys should really focus on 4K here, or is it carte blanche for them to pursue that?
Like if they want to just have a 1K frame buffer and then, you know, up-res to 4K and take advantage of
use
the
that
power
power
in a different way.
in other ways.
We'll absolutely be open to that. I mean, we're going to talk more specifics about Project Scorpio, so we'll get into more of the details. But you know, I think creative freedom and how you want to use the power of the box is something that I always support. I mean, I came from first party, as you guys know, so putting the right tools in the hands of the creators, the best creators, is our job as the platform. One thing though that we should make sure.
Now I'm gonna stop right there. Y'all can go check this video out. Yourselves, but I want y'all sit here and see. He did not put a mandate on third-party developers. He did not put a mandate on them. Now it's up to Xbox. Now he did say in another video where it's up to them to show the power of the console. So all their games, because they trying to show that this is a 4K box, should come out in 4K. Some third-party developers gonna be on board. Some third-party developers is not going to be on board. We should not have this big old outcry because Microsoft did not mandate or put a mandate out to say every game should be 4K 60. You ponies is changing the narrative. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just going to leave it at that, man. I mean, we sit here and see clear evidence. Microsoft sitting here saying it out their own mouth. You hearing from how y'all say Uncle Phil McCracken. You know what I'm saying? Y'all hearing it right out of his mouth. It's not a mandate that every game has to be in 4K. But the games will play better and perform better on the X. That's bottom line. I don't care what you sit here and say. Bottom line, it will perform better and look better on the X. And I got one more thing I got to touch on, man, before I get missing. Crackdown. I've been in some tweets and some comments where people been tagging me in a whole bunch of stuff where they sitting here telling me that Microsoft has lied about Crackdown. They said that co-op would have destructible environments. Microsoft never sit here and said, or anybody have never sit here and said that Crackdown will have Crackdown co-op will have the destructible environments. It's always been the multiplayer that will have the destructible environments. You know, I don't know if y'all seen the tweets or seen the comments where people been tagging you into it or anything like that. I know I get tagged into it a lot, but this has been what Ponies is doing when I'm sitting here saying they've been changing the narrative. They've been sitting here saying a lot of little stupid stuff. If we lied like this on a game, anybody from BGST, if we was sitting here saying Sony was doing all this little stuff, man, I'm telling you, it will be shirts, hats, boots, mittens, everything with our name plastered on it is frauds. You know what I'm saying? And it will be the deem of deem, and it'll be video after video of people, you know what I'm saying, attacking us, saying that we are frauding, we are lying on Sony or whatever the case may be. If we were going around saying the stuff that Ponies is going around saying and lying and doing. You know what I'm saying? And one of them is this right here. You know what I'm saying? Sitting here saying that they came out and said that Crackdown co-op will have the destructible environments. The co-op was meant to be played with the story mode. The story mode was not developed yet to be shown at this time, which is in 15 when they first announced this. So if you see it, it was at Gamescom 15. This is when they showed a little bit about Crackdown. We was all excited. We actually seen it in footage in real time. What was going on in the city. So he talked about the multiplayer. They never talked about the co-op, because co-op was you're gonna be able to play the story co-op with your friends, not multiplayer. So I want y'all to hear out of the developer's mouth, you know, the Crackdown and what he's sitting here saying about Crackdown, and what modes he broke down. Let's listen to it real quick.
Yes, exactly. So what we're showing you here is our brand new, for the first time ever, multiplayer version.
Multiplayer.
So we're developing a whole new campaign game, fully playable offline, full player co-op online as well. But this is kind of the first look ever at what we're doing.
Full player co-op online as well, not the multiplayer. He's not talking about multiplayer. So when he was talking about the destructible environments, the buildings crashing down, all this little stuff, they was only talking about multiplayer. Because, you know, ponies going around, what happened to that tech? What happened to that DirectX 12? What happened to the destructible environments and all this little stuff, you know? Multiplayer Crackdown.
Super excited to see it.
Let me go back so y'all can hear that.
This is kind of the first look ever at what we're doing, our sandbox for our multiplayer Crackdown.
Multiplayer, Pacific.
For more on Crackdown, you can go to crackdown.com or IGN.com. Let's check this thing out. Yeah, so when we had the opportunity to create Crackdown 3 as a multiplayer experience for the first time, we thought very carefully about, you know, what we want to do if we bring lots of these agents together into a space. And Crackdown was always a very, very physical game. You know, it was always about props, vehicles, using everything in the world as potentially a weapon or a shield. So we said, okay, the only thing that's not physical in Crackdown in the original games was the actual city in which you play. So we said, what if we make the whole environment in our multiplayer game completely physical? So that's what we started, said, well, if it's completely physical, it's actually going to be completely destructible as well. We thought that would be great. So we started developing a lot of technology that would allow us to do that. And we started with something as simple as a wall here, for example, which...
Did y'all hear what he said? He said everything in the multiplayer, they emphasized it, multiplayer. Everything in the multiplayer is going to be physical, which means completely destructible. Everything. Multiplayer. They emphasize every point. Multiplayer. Where in the world are these four-legged beasts getting this dang on thing about co-op? I don't know. I don't understand it. But I'm telling y'all from me to you four-legged beasts. I'm telling you, I promise y'all, they let out smarter nuts and Hershey bars than some of these dang on four-legged beasts out here. Huh? I'm going to tell y'all this, man. Y'all got to hold this L. I mean, big time hold this L. Because to tag somebody in this and sit here and say Microsoft lied and said that this game will have destructible environments in co-op as well, y'all lied. You know what I'm saying? They never mentioned co-op because the story mode was not complete. You understand what I'm saying? So in order for them to mention that co-op, because those two go hand in hand, just like Halo. Halo has a multiplayer and Halo has a co-op mode that you can play and go through the story with your friends. That's all they was sitting here saying. So where y'all get that destructible environments in the single player game or the co-op single player game, story mode game, I don't know. Y'all need to hold this L and quit doing all this lying. And that's all I got, man. That's all I wanted to just touch on. It's a lot of stuff going on out here, man. But one thing y'all got to stop doing is lying. Because y'all don't want it from us. When, you know what I'm saying? Y'all should not want that from yourselves as well. So, you know, in everything I show, I always back it up with proof. Just like I did now. You know what I'm saying? So if you can depict what I just did, go ahead and try, because I just let you hear from people's mouths, not mine's, theirs. So you'll be sitting here telling them that they are lying, not show. And that's all I got for y'all, man. And this is your boy, Showstopper, and I'm out. Peace. You four-legged beast sick.